Okay, so if you have Saturn in the second house, let me tell you about that. So the second house is the house of your material possessions and your resources. It also has to do with how you feel about the resources that you're able to gather. So basically what you could do for yourself financially, and for the matter of your safety, how you could provide safety for yourself financially, like in earthly terms, right? So your earning potential is in your second house. So if you have Saturn there, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So Saturn is a planet that is very serious, and Saturn is all about hard work. So if you have Saturn in the second house, you probably are a very hardworking person, and it is also likely that you might, no matter how much money that you have, you feel that limitation, because Saturn also, wherever he is placed, he enforces limitation. He's just about drawing boundaries and setting up structure and limits. So wherever he is, he's going to make you feel that. And for you, it's in the house of resources. So you might have felt that you couldn't provide for yourself, or just however much that you had, it just was not enough. So a Saturn return time is a great time to really assess that belief of having enough and being enough. So I hope that these quotes could help you along your path. And here they are. Let's start with the first one. So the first one: the man who does not value himself cannot value anything or anyone. Ayn Rand said that in The Virtue of Selfishness. Okay, so yeah, like I said, the time of the Saturn return can be a time not just of learning to value your material possessions, but also valuing yourself. And this is something that I always say to people, because I don't have trouble with this. I don't want to jinx myself, but I don't. It's kind of like that person who is working a job and they want a raise, but they're too afraid to ask for it. If you have Saturn in the second house, this could be a thing that might resonate with you. You have to learn to value yourself, because people will give you however much money or resources you tell them that you deserve. However much you feel that you deserve, you'll be confident enough to ask for that. So if you're working a job or you're receiving an amount of money that you just don't feel is commensurate with what you provide, then you should work on that. You should work on getting the amount of money that you think that you deserve. And that has a lot to do with how much you value yourself. So that's something that you really might want to assess when your Saturn return is coming along or leading up to it. The next quote is: sometimes you have to lose all you have to find out who you truly are. Roy T. Bennett said that in The Light of the Heart. So yeah, during your Saturn return with Saturn in the second house, you might go through financial hardships. You might lose it. You might lose everything. But it is true that, the second house is the house of your financial safety, right? But if you lose everything, that it's kind of like that rock bottom situation for a Saturn in the second house person. If you lose everything, then what else can you lose? You still have yourself. And if you learn to just build yourself back up and kind of value your things and your resources and everything that has to do with your finances in the second house, then you'll gain a whole lot more strength and earning potential, because you will have gone all the way to the bottom and you're just like, well, I've already been there. So you'll kind of be more prepared in life, and also you might be more inclined to ask for more and kind of respect the value that you provide people and maybe your company. So here's the next quote. So success is not just about making money. Success is happiness. Success is fulfillment. It's the ability to give. Okay, so yeah, when you have Saturn in the second house, you might really tie money to happiness, and like that feeling of having money might make you happy. But during your Saturn return, you might lose money, and you might find yourself just feeling completely like you have nothing. But you have to learn to be comfortable with less, because that will bring you a lot of peace, and you won't have a lot of that anxiety that people might experience during the second house Saturn return. Everybody going through the Saturn return is going to face like fear and anxiety and maybe some depression. But just kind of think about that. Success is not just making money, it's happiness. So if you can find some happiness through your difficulties, that should give you some peace. Okay, so the next one is, it's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. And Chuck, the guy who wrote Fight Club, I don't know, Chuck P, I'm gonna call him Chuck P, I don't know how to say his last name. So this one is kind of similar to the second quote. It's about losing absolutely everything and starting from scratch, okay? So you're free to do everything. If you lose your job during your second house Saturn return, it's possible that you might lose your job or you might lose your things. Your job is more of a 10th house, 6th house, but you could, like, it depends how everything else is aspected. So if you do, it would be a great time to kind of reinvent yourself. And maybe if you weren't doing a job that was very safe, maybe move towards a more safe alternative path. Or if you were doing something that was completely safe, maybe go off and do that other thing that you've always wanted to do and kind of really put all your passion and energy towards it. And because I mean, you already lost everything. What else can you do, you know? So next quote is, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. And Epictetus said that. So that's very true. So if you have a second house Saturn, you might, like I said, place a large importance on your material possessions, which is natural for you. But during your Saturn return, it might be a great time to kind of think about the possibility of becoming more minimalistic. And even though that might sound maybe crazy for a second house Saturn person, it might not. You might be like, you know what? That is true. I might want to have fewer, more higher quality things instead of having so many things that are, because, you know, like, things just tie you down, and if they become an extension of you, then you can be hurt so much more because there's like so many of you out there if all of your things represent who you are. But if you have such few things to care for, then it's much more difficult to hurt you or to lose a piece of you because there's just less to take care of. So that's something that you might consider, maybe becoming a minimalist if you do find yourself without recourse during your Saturn return. So I hope these quotes can help you, and if you have anything to say about them, make sure you put it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.